Beat. This is the Beat of CT. My name is Jenny Boom Boom. DJ Meechie is here with me. Hi, Meech.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
And today we have our friends Nuchette and Black-Burke, who's the Chief of Family and Community Partnerships, Office of Family and Community Partnerships head, and also here for Hartford Public Schools. And John Prescod is the Community Investment Senior Manager for United Way of Central and Northeastern Connecticut. Welcome to you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us.
So did I mess up your title completely, Nuchette? I'm sorry.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful. And Jenny, you nailed it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. So I know, Meech, you're going to start off the interview today with Nuchette, right?
Nuchette, when does school start this year? This is the big, it's the big topic.
Yes. And, a really important question, because here we are, in, I would say, the normal time when outside was open, right. We all would be looking to go back to school like in 2 weeks or something like that. But the start of the school year for Hartford Public School students has changed. Tuesday, September 8th is the day that students will return to school.
Okay.
And on September 8th, to our families, and our students who are listening, talk to mom, dad, your caregiver, and just make sure that they have contacted your school and identified, are you going back in person or are you going to participate in online learning? So September 8th is the first day of school.
Okay. So in my school district, the way that they have set it up so far, their Nuchette, is that they're going to be doing, this hybrid learning, 1 week on, 1 week off, depending on if your last name's A through K or L through Z. And then eventually they're going to bring all the kids together in October, hopefully, if, we're still doing really well with the numbers with COVID in Connecticut. So what type of plan are you guys following there in Hartford?
So in Hartford, as I just mentioned, there is in-person instruction and also online learning. So families have the choice, they make the decision, and then families will be directed by their school leader, and information will go to them directly. That will determine, am I group 1, group 2, group A, group B, and letting families know how they are going to return to the building. What I can say is September 8th, will be a staggered start. So those students who have elected to come to school on September 8th for in-person learning, grades pre-K through grade 2, grade 6, grade 9, they will be starting. So it's similar, Jenny, but parents, they really need to tune in to their principals and also just listen out for phone calls and other letters that will come to them to give them the specifics of what group cohort they would be a part of.
Okay. Which, this hybrid thing is almost like feels like as a parent, a dream come true, because you're like, wow, this is really great. Smaller groups on, weeks that you're on, weeks that you're off. But then what's scary is about, and also they are also offering online learning through my school district too. But what's scary about is that October possibly bring everybody together type of thing.
Yeah, and you're correct. I mean, so all students for online learning Tuesday, September 8th, and students who are returning in person that first week of school, it's going to be staggered. So really encouraging folks to go out to our district website. That information is there, but also you can call the Welcome Center, 860-695-8400, and they'll be able to tell you the staggered start for your student as well as the grade level and what day. But that first week, September 8th, is the day. So want to keep stressing that.
Now, when you make the decision to want to send your kids back, and let's say your kids come back home maybe the week or maybe that day, and they just don't feel comfortable anymore, is it still an option to be able to pull my kids back out, or is it just one of those things where we kind of need to know the kids that we're going to have online and the kids that we're going to be sending back into school?
Again, another great question, DJ Meech. We want to know so we can plan. We want to ensure that students are safe, teachers are safe. So helping us with that piece of the planning gets us to ensure that there's going to be proper cleaning that's done, all of those pieces that come into play. And we are saying to families, if you opt in for in-person instruction, we would love for you to keep that until the end of the quarter, and the same for online learning. But if you want to switch, like you mentioned, we would just encourage families to wait until the end of the quarter to make that switch.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's also kind of concerning, Nuchette, because now we're in flu season by then.
Mm-hmm. True. That's
So,
true.
I mean, again, that was something similar that was happening in my area. And that's something I brought up, like, well, can I pull my kids out? And they said we would like it for the first semester at least for you to stick with your plan. But by then it's already flu season.
Agreed. And what I would say is that I think every school district, and I just have to pause for a moment to give a shout out to Dr. Leslie Torres Rodriguez. She is our superintendent, and she has a huge, huge job, along with all the other superintendents across Connecticut. But have to shout her out. I like to call her Dr. LTR. She is doing great work in Hartford, and we are trying as a leadership team to ensure that children are going to be safe. So I agree that flu season is coming, but if we know that there's only going to be 50 students, then of course we're going to be planning for those 50 students, ensuring that proper cleaning is happening, surface areas, commonly touched areas. So by being able to plan for the number of students that are in a particular mode, whether in person or online, it helps to cut down some of the variance of having people in and out. So you're like doing in-person instruction this week, and then you're doing online next week, and it's vice versa all over the place. At least you have a kind of a cadence of who's going to be in the building. You're able to clean and follow those type of protocols. So I know it's tough, flu season is coming, but we prefer for folks to do it for that entire quarter.
Right. Oh, there's one of your babies now. Hi.
Yes, one of my babies. Hey, Ezra.
Oh, I love that name. That's so cute.
Thank you.
You never know what you're going to get with a Zoom interview. So, I know you talked about keeping things safe by cleaning, but the kids have to wear masks too, right?
True, they do. They do have to wear masks, and we are asking that all of our staff, the teachers included, children will have to wear masks. Our little ones, our pre-K students, they wouldn't be wearing masks like in their classrooms, because I mean they're so little. But everyone else in the building, we are asking them to wear masks and follow a protocol that we will have in place for that. And that's something really just to help prevent the virus. As we know, having masks on really does help prevent transmission. But another question that has come up is like a mask protocol or mask breaks, and those will be built in for our students so they don't feel like they're constricted all day.
And I also saw that some of the schools in Connecticut are offering these like glass cubicle type things that are going over some of the desks. That some of the kids are going to be behind when they're studying. I'd heard that other school districts, the kids have to carry the glass cubicle to lunch with them in order to eat behind them. Is that anything that you guys have thought about with the Hartford Public Schools, or?
So no, our children won't be carrying any partitions or anything like that, carrying them through the building or anything like that. But as far as having physical distancing as best as possible in our schools, that will be in place, ensuring that there's clear demarcations on the floor for students to follow, like, this one-way traffic, those type of pieces. All of that will be in place for our students. So in addition to the mask and wiping down commonly used areas, but I know some school districts are asking students themselves to do that type of cleaning. In Hartford, we are not. Our students will not be doing any cleaning or disinfecting the common areas. That will be done by staff for their protection.
Okay.
Now,
so I'm sorry, go ahead, Meech.
Now, usually like around this time, this is the time where, you take your kids school shopping and supply shopping and
worst time of year, Meech. Worst time of year.
Those are usually, the times that, that's usually what we do to prepare for school. But
true.
Now that we have to focus on like actual safety, what can these parents, do to learn more about getting prepared for this new way of schooling?
And I think that is so important. That's super, super important. So, really for us, it's like a call to action to our families to start the safety prep conversation with your child.
Mm.
And if they're in pre-K or if they're in 12th grade. So practicing with them at home how to properly put on a mask. How do you properly take off your mask? Hand washing. So you all just saw Ezra run through. He's 6. So I'm always saying to him, all right, when you're in the bathroom, sing the birthday song a couple of times, count to 20. As parents, caregivers, starting that safety prep, starting that routine at home with our children, irrespective of grade levels. I also have a high schooler. So I'm like, you have to remind them too. I would encourage parents to start doing that with their children. That's like one of the big things is to start that safety preparation at home, explaining to them the importance of wearing the mask, the hand washing, and helping them kind of denote and understand what physical distancing looks like.
Mm.
So that's what I would say to families to help students prepare, and also really ask them about their feelings. I mean, I'm a grown up and I have the blues every now and again. I'm like, outside is not open and it's August.
Right.
I can't imagine how a teenager might feel. So that's a lot of emotion
Right.
to be carrying. So just having real conversation with your students and trying to unpack that with them, how they are feeling, even as they're going back to school. So in addition to buying sneakers and buying a notebook, now you're adding this safety conversation as your back to school preparation.
Right. And these conversations, I mean, like what you just mentioned, there's been a lot of breakdowns in my house. I know that. But these types of conversations are so deep and hard to have with your kids. I have a 9-year-old and a child that's about to be a senior. And the main conversation in my house has been, Mom, it's my senior year. I don't want to miss it.
Right.
And my 9-year-old's like, I don't want to keep a mask on all day. I don't care about going back. So it's like, it's like two completely different conversations that are going on. And it's really hard, I think, for parents to make, their decision based upon all of the facts of, what they think is best for their family. And Nuchette, it is a heartbreaking decision either way, because you feel like I want to send my kid back to school and they can socialize and they can be a part of the class and be in person with the teacher, but you're scared. And then you feel like, okay, I'll keep them home, but now they're missing out on all of that interaction. So it's like you almost can't win either way.
Agreed. And I think one of the pieces that when parents call the Welcome Center and talking with our staff and talking with other folks, just really trying to share with families, have the conversation, but don't discount how the child is feeling. So my 6-year-old, he's like, this is the best thing ever. I get to stay home. I can do some schoolwork, but helping him to understand that you have to get back to some level of normalcy and, just don't minimize their feelings. So I know as parents, you're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean you want to stay home and watch TV all day? But just don't minimize their feelings and help them process all of that. And as far as caregivers are concerned, I think being able to process what you're going through without putting it off on the child is another piece that I always want to share with families. If you need to call someone to have a conversation, John Prescod, there's 211, there's folks that you can reach out to. I always tell parents, call the Welcome Center. We can refer you to someone, but whatever you do, don't project all the stress that's happening right now onto the child to make them feel like, any of this is their fault. And we want to protect our children. They're, really our heartbeats outside of our heart. We want to protect them, but follow the science, follow the safety measures, and really believe praying and calling on, whatever higher power it is that you pray to, that our children are going to be okay, and entrusting them to go back into the school buildings if that is what you choose, and believing that they're going to be taught and they're going to learn and have a successful school year. So I know that was a whole bunch, probably went way too deep, but
no,
that's
Not at all.
No,
Not
because
at all.
honestly, no,
Yeah.
you're right, because it's been such a hard decision for us. I know
Yes.
that. But just before we get to John in 1 second, Nuchette, as far as the online learning, how are Hartford Public Schools positioning that? Is this something where they're going to be on their computer and in the classroom watching the live instruction, or is it going to be more like connected learning in the fall? I mean, in the spring?
So it will be different than the spring. Live instruction. Channeling Dr. Leslie Torres Rodriguez right now, she is adamant that it will be live instruction. That's what children need. They need to be able to interact. So even if they are online, it will be live instruction for our students. So not just connected, but having certified teachers in front of our children while they're doing their online component is going to be super, super important. And that is something that our superintendent has said, and she's holding the entire leadership team accountable to that there will be certified teachers teaching our children online if that is what they opt to do.
I think that that's really important. And as far as those laptops, can people get them? Or I heard
Yes.
there's like a huge, there is. I heard there's like a backup or shortage going on or something with laptops. Is that true?
Well,
was I lied
Jenny,
to? She said, girl, I know, we got them.
Let me tell you something.
Well, listen, Jenny, DJ Meech, John, you know this. Again,
Absolutely.
when Hartford Public Schools, when we do something, I like to shout it from the mountaintops and like brag on the district, because a lot of times people try to, give us a nudge, right? Give us an elbow. Dr. Torres Rodriguez in the spring said every student needs to have a device, and she meant it. So we distributed devices, almost 11,000 plus devices were distributed to families. Wow. And if you don't have a device, you can call the Welcome Center and we will get you a device. If your device is broken or something happened to it, the same. Call the Welcome Center, 860-695-8400, and we'll ensure that you exchange your device, get a device, because all of our students will have a device. Pre-K through 12th grade, all Hartford Public School students will have a device. If you do not already have one, you can get one. Connectivity, a few weeks ago, it was announced that as a city, we are ensuring that there will be Wi-Fi across our city. Again, as a district, we are trying to work with families very intentionally about hotspots, because internet service connectivity is no longer a luxury. It is a basic need for what we're dealing with. So that's Hartford Public Schools, that it's our position. If you're a student, you have a device, get connected so you can access your education.
That's awesome. All right. Well, you should be shouting that from the mountaintops, because I heard other stuff.
Child, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. John, hi.
Hello.
How are you there, sir?
Good. I do want to piggyback on one thing that Nuchette said.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've heard that they're kind of talking about across districts too is if you have been at home with your children and you have been social distancing and really haven't gone out to the point that your children haven't really been wearing a mask as part of this process in the house, one of the things that they've recommended is that having them put on the mask a little bit at a time every day, building up to the start of the school year. They call it stamina. So that they're not going directly from a household where they may not have been wearing a mask to now having to be in it for, X amount of hours during the school day. So that's one thing that I think is very important for parents to consider, that logistic of what's been going on at home.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a tough one, John. I mean, and I don't want to sound negative. I want to have high hopes that everything's going to work out great. But I mean, I just know kids pick their noses. They don't wash their hands. They pick their nose and run after somebody. I mean, but this is how kids act. There's some kids that are just nasty. My son would come home and be like, Mom, I was stepping in pee in the bathroom today. That was his big complaint every day. I mean, kids can be pretty gross. So, I mean, I try to have high hopes here, John, but this is pretty scary stuff to me.
You know what? I think, to Nuchette's point, we have to look at this as, go back to a village approach and a village mentality. And we have to treat all of the kids as our children, and we have to work together. As a state, we've done pretty well.
Oh, we've done great.
Under these unprecedented circumstances. to kind of quell the growth of the virus and the spread of it and things of that nature by everybody working together, wearing your mask, keeping your distance and things of that nature. And we really need to continue that momentum, and work together as a team. And again, like I said, treat all children as our own and make sure that we're following the protocols that Nuchette went through, that the other districts are doing, 8,400, and find out what do you need to do to be ready for the school year. For the other districts, same thing. Call your school district, get in touch with your family liaisons or their welcome centers so you know what to expect. That's one of the challenges is if you don't know what the expectation is, and you haven't been part of the town halls that the different districts and superintendents have been having to lay out the plans, it's going to be exponentially more hard, for you to help your kids be successful, and could cause added anxiety. So we need to work together. We need to make sure that everybody's following protocols and that everybody has the resources that they need for their households, for their children. We have grandparents too, so their grandchildren to be successful and stay healthy, and we continue the momentum that we've had in Connecticut with this outbreak.
So, I mean, Meechie, you went to New Britain schools. Could you imagine yourself with a face shield all day on?
Not at all, especially not in those times.
Meechie's like, I was too wild. I'd have pulled that thing off and threw it at somebody.
And they're going to have mask breaks as well, to Nuchette's point earlier, because, it is going to be challenging to be that long in a mask. So they'll be able to have designated areas where they go out to, and, different districts will be doing different things along the lines of that. That's why I said it's very important for them to reach out to their family centers and their liaisons in the schools.
So moving forward for the fall, John, will there be any programs put in place for families I know you said we can give you guys a call, but, any sort of town halls that United Way might be putting together? Because I think that would be a great thing if the parents could get together on Zoom or whatever and just kind of discuss and, any problems that they've been facing.
We're looking into, how we better engage the community.
Yeah.
In this circumstance, we always want to defer to the experts like Nuchette and Dr. Torres Rodriguez, that are the ones that are shaping the path and working with the state and the Department of Education on what are the best protocols to keep our children and families healthy and safe. But we're always willing to collaborate. We want to be a resource. We want to make sure. You spoke about 2-on-1 earlier, Nuchette, and we want to make sure that people are aware of what are the resources that are out there. One of the challenges, school starts up. If parents have to go back to work and the kid is doing remote and, one parent is home or it's an older sibling that's home with the kids, the anxiety that this can cause around food and making sure that your children are eating and things of that nature. So, we want to make sure that our families know where to go, where they can get resources. So SNAP, for example, although SNAP enrollment went up a bit, and SNAP is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, that people may not know what the acronym stands for. It did increase, but it was still very low. So people can call 2-on-1. It's a federal program that helps, millions of people get food to put on their table. So they can reach out, call 2-on-1, get in touch with SNAP. The Office of Early Childhood, for example, is setting up a special hotline that's geared towards teachers or school personnel and help them find childcare for when they go back to work as well. And same thing with families. Call and see what's available, what are the services, what daycares are available and things of that nature, what the fee rate is, if it's subsidized, Care for Kids, if it's sliding scale. These are just some of the things that we want our families to know about, because it is one less source, to Nuchette's point earlier, of anxiety for the parents, which then could become anxiety for the students.
Right.
Can I just say United Way, by the way, I don't want to interrupt, sorry, Meech, but United Way, man, you guys are amazing. Amazing over there.
We have a lot of great partners, that are doing the work at the ground level.
You can accept the accolade. Yeah, go ahead, Meechie, I'm sorry.
It's a team. It's a team.
It's all you, John. It's all you. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
No, I was basically gonna say the same thing. Like, it's just amazing that you guys have all these resources and programs.
Yeah.
For I'm not a parent,
Not yet, or not that you know of, but
but I can definitely see the difficulties that parents would definitely have. I mean, I remember going to school, and one thing about New Britain High School was it was just a thing about it being overcrowded. So you had a lot of kids that wasn't getting maybe the enough attention or enough for them to be able to perform the way that they were able to perform while they were going to school. So I can see now kids are dealing with all of this other stuff, but then obviously have to deal with safety now. They have to deal with this, deal with that. So I can see the strain that this could put on, a family, or the strain that it could put on, parents, and especially the parents that have to stay at home with their kids and homeschool their kids. Like, so it is a great thing to see that you guys have all these programs in place, for them.
But like I said, it is a team effort. We have great partners like Nuchette and Hartford Public Schools, Superintendent Leslie Torres Rodriguez, Superintendent Nancy Serra in New Britain, Nate Quinnell, Superintendent Quinnell in East Hartford, and Superintendent Youngberg in Wyndham, Superintendent Gary in Manchester. That, really kudos to them, because this is something that we haven't seen in a very long time in this country. And having to navigate and be able to pivot very quickly when situations arise, and, putting together their teams and coming up with these plans of how we're going to keep our kids safe, keep our families safe, try to keep the anxiety down for teachers, for parents, for family, for the community. These are challenging times, as we all know. And so, definitely, like I said, Nuchette, you can pat yourself on the back. And kudos to the district and our superintendents for, hitting the ground running, making sure that we are having as safe as possible an environment for our kids. Like Nuchette, it's the heart outside of the heart. My kids, we've made the decision that they're going to stay home. I have a little bit of flexibility right now. But to Nuchette's point, my daughter, she was in kindergarten going to first grade. She did a Zoom graduation. My daughter was not happy about that at all.
Yeah.
A couple of tears were shed. My son was like, whatever. So I got a 6-year-old like Nuchette and a soon to be just turned 6-year-old and a soon to be 5-year-old. And they're night and day in personality. And so having those conversations too, to your point, with them about what they're feeling on a day-to-day basis is just as important as making sure that, they have their hygiene protocols in place. New Britain, I know they're asking that they have 2 masks, bring one that they're going to wear and have a backup in case something happens, in addition to, the application of the face shields and things of that nature. So challenging times, we just want to be a resource. Nuchette, I know that based off an email I got, that Hartford Public Schools has an event coming up, I believe, a backpack back to school event. Did you want to talk about that?
So there are, a bunch of different back to school pieces that are taking place. So, I encourage everyone to check out our district websites. I know schools are going to be doing some different things, innovative things. We're living in that time where like innovation is like what you have to have, because we had drive-through graduations and, like you said, Zoom, all kinds of innovative things. But yes, so Hartford Public Schools, Tuesday, we are being intentional and reminding families. We know that we have many students that live in the city, but this event is for Hartford Public School students. And Forsyths, Weaver, Hartford High, Wish, and Belizzi. And the time is 1 to 3 Tuesday. And want to remind parents that, yes, we are going to distribute what we're calling learning kits, right? Learning kits, including hygiene kits, supplies for schools, PPE, but we're reminding families it's really 1 per family. So when you come out, it's really going to be a drive-up, walk-through. We want to see you, remind you about the first day of school, and we go from there. So thank you, John. I was going to plug that at the end, but thank you. That's
job,
what good
John.
partners do,
Good
right?
job, John.
Right,
You know?
yes.
That's
You
okay.
know, work in
That's what
tandem.
good partners do, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
it-
it's definitely smaller, much smaller than what we did last year for several reasons. We are in a pandemic. So
Right.
families, if you come out on Tuesday, you better have your mask. Social distancing is a must. And again, it's while supplies last. Jenny, can you say that one more time for me? Because they might listen to you. Can you say while supplies last?
Oh, that's all I do for a living. While supplies last. Yeah.
Okay. All right. DJ Meech, can you say it one more time?
While supplies last.
He did it better than me.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
All right, good. So while supplies last.
Nuchette, families that are relying on meals, right? At school, because there are families that do rely on that. Is it best to go John's route and maybe, become a member of the SNAP program, or are you guys supplying lunches or breakfasts at the school still, even if you're doing online learning?
Yes. So Jenny, community and team is super important. And I'm going to call her by name, Miss Lonnie Burt, who is our Director of Food Services, and her absolutely amazing team. I mean, they haven't flinched. Since March 13th, they have been doing the thing. I mean, serving hundreds of thousands of meals to families. And that will continue. That will continue in a modified way. Right now, we have 17 meal sites across the city. So of course, school's going to be in session. So all 17 meal sites would not be open. So we are actually, after this call, I'll be talking with her and some other folks and just trying to get down to exactly what it's going to look like and feel like. But even if you are a student and you're online, your family will still have access to meals as a Hartford Public School student. Whether it's, you're going to pick up 2 meals on Monday and you get the other 2 on Thursday, we'll work through it, but they will still have access to meals.
Great.
If you're an online student or, absolutely.
That's great news. So Nuchette, give me the website again for more information about everything that's happening with Hartford Public Schools.
Sure. And I pulled it up because I was like, I'll get it wrong.
That's good.
Because I will get it wrong.
That's good.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Hartfordschools.org. So www.hartfordschools.org. Or you can call 860-695-8400. Shout out to the Welcome Center team, Judith, Shelly Mar, Leslie, Emily, holding it down always on the phone lines. And to the OFCP team, Tamara, Lindsay, Kishima, Tiffany, Viviana. I got to make sure I don't forget anybody. Help me out. Did I miss anybody,
somebody's
John?
going to hate you.
I think you got everybody.
One more time. Tamara, Kishima, Lindsay, Tiffany, Viviana, and Vivian. There you go. I got it.
All right, you got them all. You won't be facing the wrath of that group of people. So, John, United Way, you guys looking for any help right now?
So, yeah. We, like I said, we were doing the mask, the shields in partnership with New Britain Public Schools. We also were working with partners that were providing the cloth masks. And so if there are schools or entities out there that are looking for cloth masks, they can go on the United Way website. And there's a section where you're looking for volunteerism and opportunities to engage. They could also talk to one of my coworkers. Her name.
John, we can't call you personally. What's going on now? You're too big now?
I'm in a different department. I mean, if they want to call me, I'll make sure they get to the resource.
Sorry, John.
But for for those that are interested in volunteering to either work on masks, we also have Stuff the Bus that's coming up, and that is our annual school supply drive that we donate to our partner districts, including Hartford Public Schools, New Britain, Wyndham, East Hartford, Manchester, so on and so forth. They can either go to unitedwayinc.org/events, or they can contact Annie Summers Fasano, and her number is 860-493-1135.
Well, thank you very much to both of you.
Yes.
We learned a lot. I feel like we know more stuff, so that's all
Thank
that matters,
you.
right? Yeah. Today, thank you to Nuchette M. Black-Burke, who's the Chief of Family and Community Partnerships, Office of Family and Community Partnerships for Hartford Public Schools, and John Prescod, who's the Community Investment Senior Manager for the United Way of Central and Northeastern Connecticut. Thanks so much to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.